Good morning, folks. Everything new under the sun. As I often state in my videos, part of my purpose is to bring to you sources that will provide you information. I don't have all the information. I don't have all the intelligence. I don't have all the wisdom. I'm looking to a variety of sources, and as we collaborate, come together with news and information, I believe it's important to take that information and use your own wisdom to deal with that as you need to, and go to the Lord with that information and understand and read the Bible and understand where that fits in Bible prophecy. It's not up to me to tell you what Bible prophecy is. It's for you to kind of gather the information, to decide for yourself where you think we are, and to work that out in your own lives. And one of those sources that I have often spoke about is raptureready.com. It's a headline aggregator, and it is very valuable. Just scroll through the various headlines, and you'll get a peek, just an idea of what sorts of things are going on in the world. Just a ton of stuff. A lot about COVID, but a lot about everything else that's going on in the world. Cyber Polygon and the hypocrisy in the world. You can see the second article there about CNN admitting cloth masks are useless now after 2 years of telling us to wear one mask, wear two masks, wear three masks at a time, wear three layered masks. Of course, they never talk about wearing N95 masks, which are actually medical grade masks that would help against these airborne or droplet aerosolized diseases. Regardless, raptureready.com, an excellent resource. You should be checking the headlines daily. It's going to be a bit of a COVID Bible prophecy news update, because I think this moves us along the path and it moves us along the path of Bible prophecy, along the timeline of the return of the Lord, and it's moving us quickly there. And I think this is the warm-up. I think this is kind of the soft start, if you will, to the events that occur in the 7-year period, and it's getting the stage set. It's getting the world ready to accept a world leader, to accept an antichrist, to accept a new world currency, to accept a digital monetary system where you won't be able to buy or sell unless you have, what. It's all moving us along there. It's getting us ready for it. It's kind of the teaser to the main event, and it's getting the whole world conditioned for what is to come, and Satan is conditioning the world for an antichrist leader to come to power. That's exactly what we see. So let's take a look at the headlines here. Zero Hedge. The European Union sets a 9-month expiry on the passports. So I don't know if you knew this was coming. I think a lot of us figured this was coming. There's going to be no end to boosters. You're going to have to get your regular shots every year. And so vaccine passports are now going to be expiring after 9 months. Why 9 months? Well, that's the efficacy of the current vaccine. It starts to wane after that. And then you need your boosters. So you need to get a new passport to proceed. So there you go. RAIRFoundation.com, RAIR Foundation.com. Powerful bureaucrats sought to squash those who promoted alternatives to government's tyrannical coronavirus lockdown strategy. So you talk about, things like ivermectin or fluvoxamine, and even down to taking vitamin D. Well, you can't say anything, and certainly where I am, the health authorities are not telling people to get healthy, not telling people to increase their vitamin D intake, vitamin C, maybe lose some weight, maybe increase their lung capacity, generally get healthier so that you'll, if and when you get a variant, you'll be able to manage it better. No, their only solution, of course, is the jab, and I think you've heard many people say that. But they seem to have been directly going after doctors who have not towed the line. Non-compliant physicians. I mean, can you believe that you live in a world that you do? It's almost as if we live in China, for real. And I'll show you some headlines that kind of point in that direction. But when you can't have any free speech because they're worried about public health, well, isn't that a great excuse to really lock down everybody? Now, are they planning on going to communism? Is everybody planning? Is Fauci planning for a communist dictator overthrow? No, I don't think so. But this is where ultimately we're moving because of this health emergency, quote unquote. This is in Austria, which used to be communist, of course, right? Austria hiring people to hunt down the vaccine refusers. Austrian government is hiring people to hunt down those refusers. Let's see. The burden for enforcing the fines of unjabbed Austrians will have to pay as part of their punishment will fall to their employers, necessitating a new army of inspectors to ensure the process runs smoothly. So they're going after you. If you don't get this thing, it's absolutely incredible. If you don't get this thing, they're coming after you. They're looking for you. They want to find you. They're mandating it. And you're going to get in trouble with the law if you don't get an injection. It's absolutely incredible. It's not just, you're locked out of theaters and bars and restaurants. No, you get a fine. And I believe countries will move this way as freedoms are eroded in the name of public health and safety. This is nowtheendbegins.com. Biden White House fear-mongers launch Operation Dark Winter. And I mentioned this headline before, but the vaccinated, telling the vaccinated that nothing but severe illness and death awaits them. This is what Biden came out and said. Joe Biden, for unvaccinated, we are looking at a winter of severe illness and death if you're unvaccinated. For themselves, their family, and the hospitals that they'll soon overwhelm. If you're an American, the president of your country came out and said, if you're not vaccinated, you're looking at severe illness and death, and that you're going to overwhelm the hospitals. Incredible statements by a president, or any politician, to be absolutely honest with you. By the way, I'm surprised that Ilhar Omar, or whatever her name is, just swearing in all of her addresses, or in a lot of her addresses recently. And this is a politician of the United States, voted in to office, and they're just profanity-laden addresses. I don't know who voted her into office, but boy, oh boy, there is no sanctity of office anymore, or respect. There you go. I mean, I guess that's free speech, right? So I guess she's exercising her free speech. So there you go. This is the nationalpulse.com. Governments want to crack down on Telegram. So if you're using alternate communication avenues, they want to crack down because you know what? It's used to organize anti-COVID lockdown measures. So you're not allowed to protest against the government. You're not allowed to organize and protest against the government. Wait a minute. I thought that was like a right, the ability to peacefully gather and protest the government. Isn't that what opposition parties are supposed to be doing? The people are supposed to be allowed to get together and speak out against the government if it sees something is not going right. But in these times of COVID, you're not allowed to do that. And the government's going to take away your communication methods to prevent you from saying what the government is doing is, should not be allowed to happen. They want to crack down on Telegram. In the past few days, German politicians have declared messaging app Telegram a threat to democracy and a hotbed of radicalization. Of course, they're going to use that radicalization word because that sounds like terrorism, doesn't it? Latest rounds of attacks on free communication comes after weeks of protests in Germany. Now, Germany, who was communist, came out of that. You would think they would know and would have safeguards against it, but no, they're looking to limit free speech. It's absolutely incredible. Protests have mobilized via Telegram, which is an encrypted platform, and other online community platforms. The government is going after you. If you disagree with the government, they're coming after you. This is what this says, and it's incredible to me that the citizens of Germany don't realize this, and maybe they do, but they're now scared. Note that all citizens around the world are now scared to speak out because you're going to get hammered by your friends and family who say, you know what, this is just for the public good. You should comply. And what will happen when the mark of the beast comes? All your friends and family will say, this is for the public good. You need to comply. The governments will say, if you don't comply, you don't love your neighbor. You're not a Christian if you don't comply. This is what they will say in the last days. Now, there is an argument to be made that you need to protect the vulnerable as Christians. Absolutely, we do. And that may be through the current vaccine. That may be via alternative methods if you're taking precautions and or if you're naturally immune. But the government shouldn't be forcing this. And the erosion of freedoms is really just a lead up to a one world leader coming in and preventing everybody from buying and selling, save he that has that mark, right hand or forehead. And so I think this is all conditioning for what is to come. I spoke of this before. IMF, World Bank, and 10 countries held alarming simulation of global financial collapse. And there's, I think it's Harry Dent who warned of a significant collapse in the early part of 2022. But they're holding simulations. Remember Event 201? Remember Cyber Polygon, which is an event practicing, predicting a future global cyber attack that takes down maybe supply chains and world economies. And you know what? This image, get used to that. You're going to see more of this in the last days. This is what you're going to see: violence and chaos as these things erupt around the world, as we head into financial collapse and ruin, and people are desperate. They have nothing else to do. They will be just desperate. They'll be calling and crying on the government to give them food and for the government to feed them. And the government's going to have a lot of power once this is said and done. And I don't think there won't be enough revolution which overthrows the governments. I read the end of the book, and the Antichrist pretty much prevails until the Lord returns to bring wrath upon the Antichrist and the world and the sin of the world. Israel's rolling out the second booster, so this is the fourth shot. UK sees Omicron hospitalizations rise to, I thought that was funny, 14. So in all of the UK, because of Omicron, there's 14 hospitalized. Okay. But Israel, again, going to where do the boosters stop? I think we have to agree at this point that this is really just like the yearly flu shot. So if you're vulnerable, get the flu shot. But it's not doing anything really significant against Omicron. So there you go. This is your hedge again. Whose Tedros warns holiday gatherings could result in COVID surge, urges people to cancel events, cancel Christmas, cancel gatherings. If you're going to get together as family, maybe you should cancel that. If you're getting together as family, you should mask and social distance. You should not, remember, you don't want to hug. You don't want to show any love or care for anybody in any sort of physical manner, because you might get sick, right? You might spread the virus. And this is exactly what Satan wants. Now, not downplaying the threat of the virus. There could be health implications of it. But isn't it just along Satan's lines to want us to not show our faces, not smile, not show any emotions, not be able to relay any emotions to anybody else, give a smile, and even to be scared away from saying Merry Christmas to people? And wouldn't it be what Satan wants for us not to hug, not to show any care or love for each other? All right? He wants to move us apart, divide us, cover up any indication or show of love or gratitude or happiness, because he is devoid of any of that. So he wants the rest of us humans to also basically experience what he experiences every day, which is just miserable existence. And remember, that's what hell is. An eternity apart from God. No love, no happiness, no smiles, no caring, no whatever. And this is what COVID is turning the world into, basically a world devoid of all those things, because we have to hide our faces. We're not allowed to touch each other anymore. We're not allowed to gather. And this is going to drive many people really to hell in a sort of way, because they don't know Jesus Christ as their personal Lord and Savior, and the mental health of people in the world. This is all going to drive them to suicide, and that's exactly what Satan wants. He wants to take as many with him as he can. He knows he's done, but he's trying to set up the world to make life miserable for everybody, so that they commit suicide, and he takes as many as he can with him to the grave, to hell even. He doesn't want people to know joy and love and peace in Jesus Christ. So the world is coming to a close, but this is just a warm-up. Again, there's going to be shock and awe. You haven't seen shock and awe yet. Be prepared for what's coming. And this is nothing. This is conditioning. This is a build-up, a ramping up of events on the timeline of the return of the Lord, and it's getting faster, and it's getting more serious, and governments are clamping down harder, and citizens are doing nothing about it, and they will do nothing about it. And because I know there will come a time when the world will accept an Antichrist figure. I wonder if I can bring up my timeline of the return of the Lord. They will accept this figure at one point, which tells me that they did not stand up. They did not refuse restrictions by the government. In fact, they accepted them, and they encouraged everybody else to accept them as well at some point. And so there's no backlash. There's not going to be any pressure by civilization to push back against government. The government, world government's going to come together. They're going to control. They're going to win this, and an Antichrist figure is going to come to power ultimately, and reset the world system. He's going to, quote unquote, he's going to come into power to fix things. He's going to fix the economy. He's going to fix the pandemic, for a short period. He's going to fix everything, and he's going to look like he's fixing everything. And people will say, who is able to go to war against the beast, the powers that be? Who is able going to go to, who is going to be able to stand up to them and say, well, they will accept them? And that ultimately leads to, of course, the first 3.5 years where the four horsemen of the apocalypse ride, and the Antichrist won't be able to do anything to resolve those situations. And it won't be until the abomination of desolation, as the Antichrist sits on the throne in the third temple, that people will then realize, oh, this guy's not a good person. This guy's actually a really bad person. But it's going to be too late, and there's going to be a lot. Even the first 3.5 years of the tribulation, they're not hell yet. They'll be really bad. People will be saying that it is hell that they're living through, but that's not hell yet. Compared to hell, that's still really good, but it's going to be very, very hard. And so if you don't have a strong faith in Jesus Christ, you need to get that now. You need to continue to grow in that. You need to ask for faith and ask for patience. So, and the Lord said, when I return, will there be any faith left? Will I find any faith in the earth? Which means there will be many who have fallen away from the faith, who said, this is too hard. A God of love wouldn't allow this, etc. And they will fall away. They will fall and step in and get in line with the rest of the people under the Antichrist figure. They will accept what he is saying. It's a time to be prepared, to be focused, to be in your word. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll leave it there, and we'll see you in the next video.